Yeah, hi, my name's Carl. I'm from the Suffolk Latch Company and just going to do a quick intro to a job we have up in Harrogate, up in Yorkshire. We sell, nearly all the knobs we sell are these knobs, which are in effect unsprung. They've got a separate rows and the knobs are connected with a threaded mortise bar. Now, we sell probably in the region of 100,000 per year, but we do, I estimate, probably one in every 100 sales get an issue. And the issue is big enough to really cause me some concern, and also it's causing some distress with the clients at the other end. I had one locally a couple of years ago. It was local, came through, customers very distressed. Obviously they reached the end of their tether by the time they come to see me, and I went there, fixed it, and I was happy it all worked well. This particular client's doing a very large meal conversion up in Harrogate in North Yorkshire, and we're getting very similar reports back. So I'm going to be heading up this time with our camera guy Robbie, and we're going to do a full report. At this stage here, my confidence is not strong. I'm thinking, is there a problem product here? So I'm going to get up there and use this as an opportunity to go through an entire room or unit they'd sold off and actually see what the problems are and can we overcome them, and some kind of report. Moving on from that, my gut feeling is we'll probably be doing some kind of tutorial on actually how to fit these properly, but we'll cover that later. So over to the report. Okay, we're looking here at door number one. This is a pair of French doors leading from the open plan kitchen into what looks like to be bathroom and bedroom areas. It's a set of French doors, straightforward butted, with integrated strip. The knobs on the right hand side are fixed, and to the left hand side are on a sort of looks like a 3-inch tubular latch. So if you get nice and close, we'll have a look and see what we can do. First thing I noticed, the doors, it moves well. There's a little bit of end play here. I think that's probably within the realms of fixability, but we'll have a look at that. But now we'll move on to the second slave door. So we are again on door number one, which is the slave door of a pair of French doors. All looks pretty good to me. Obviously with these particular knobs here, we've had to screw them in quite tight to make sure they don't turn. On this side here, which is correct, the access way is beneath the doorknob. This one over here, the access way, is being put here, which is incorrect. You shouldn't be seeing that at all. That should be on the underside. This kind of case here where the door's not turning, I'll probably recommend using some of that Loctite on both sides, just to make sure you can pull it in nice and tight and you haven't got to mess around too much trying to adjust the fixment hole to find the right kind of fix. But apart from that, looks pretty good. So here we are now at number two door. Again, it's a pair of doors, slave doors going into the airing cupboard. Door on the right hand side is fixed, top only. With the doorknob completely fixed while being screwed together tight. The doorknob on the left hand side is, again, it looks like a 3-inch back set, even a 4-inch back set on a tubular latch. On examination, and as shown by the site manager here, the right hand side has done the complete wind off. So we're going to get inside this, have a damn good look, see what's going on, we'll pull it apart and see if we can make this one work. So from the inside here we can see this door is fine, this one's a complete fail. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to unwind this and strip it right back and get this thing working properly. But if you can see here, this door should be turning, but it comes completely off. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that this mortise bar, which is threaded, is the correct way into the doorknob. And the way I'm going to do that is do a measure on this door thickness and also measure from the face of the rose plate back to door surface. So with the door calcs, now we'll do some quick sums as to how long the mortise bar should protract outside the doorknob. So the door came in at 43.5. The rose from the insert to the door surface came through at 8.5 times by 2, giving a total of 60.50. The bar, that's the mortise bar, this one piece here, comes out at 100.50. We're going to minus 60.50 equals 40. Divide that by 2, it equals 20. Then we go 100 0.5 minus 20 equals a projection of 80.50. We now get these calipers, lock them off at 80.5, come to here, set it up and lock it in place. Okay, the first thing we're going to do now is on this side here, this is the easy part, is that we can get a visual on this slot here, we can get a visual on the grub screw here, and we can just fix that in with this Allen key, and we know that is set in at 80.5, and that is beautifully set into that groove there. Now we'll move on to the next piece. I know we're only on the second door here, but I'm getting a bit of a feeling to understand what the main problem is. Not all doors are like it, but the majority are. On both these handles here, the access point is being placed on the bottom. My gut feeling is, also looking at it from the other side, yes, access is correct at the bottom, but also when you look at the doorknobs underneath previous assembly, they actually align up with the bottoms as well. Now the idea here really is you should be fixing one rose initially with the access point at the bottom and leaving the other one loose. The reason for that is when you leave it loose, you can then turn the rose round and you then have an option of getting the optimum fix on either the bottom, left, right or top. Once you're happy with that, you then turn it round. The issue with doing it the other way is simply the fact that you've only got, you've got to commit 360 degrees one way or other, which is quite a long way with this kind of coarse thread. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this rose here and start reassembling it, and we'll go from there. So here we have the doorknob now with the mortise bar screwed into the correct length, and as we mentioned before, the grub screw is sitting nicely in the groove. What we're going to do now, we're going to pass this doorknob through the existing rows on the other side, and for ease of use we're going to make sure that this little grub screw is facing down. So once we passed it through, we can now see we've got a nice projection here, plenty to bite onto. We've got the groove at 12, 6, 3 and 9. The next stage is we put the rose plate on loose, we put the doorknob on, and basically wind it down until such times we've got the optimum length to get the right kind of grip, the right kind of end play. We're then going to fix it via either 12, 3, 6 or 9. Once it's in place, we're going to turn the thing down so it's facing down and then put the 4 screws in. A real tip here is the problem is when we fix this second knob on, we're working blind. So obviously to help us guide us through, you know, we've got the 3, 6, 9, 12. Also, just get a little pencil and just do a visual and just mark a little line on there. That'll help you. I'm now going to fix on this door here, get the optimum amount of grip and end play, and then we're going to use this as a guide to try and locate it with a hole. Now, right now, that feels about right. The door operates nicely, but it wasn't before. It's a little bit tiny bit more off. I'm happy there. Now I'm now going to use that line and that little access way to try and hunt down the optimum place to go to. As you can see, the line is just there. So what I want to do here is bring this round to 9 o'clock. I'm just going to turn this rose round. Like that. There we go. So there we go. We're 9 o'clock. We're aligned both ways. I'm now satisfied. When I go with this screw here, I'm going to hit that bar absolutely spot on. So here we are now. We've done the final fix. We've got it screwed on. We're happy with that. And what we've done now, we've got this rose plate. We've wound it down to the holes at the bottom now where it should be. And as you can see, it works beautifully. Now the only reason it might bind now when I put these screws in is if the rose plates are actually misaligned in some way, but we'll give it a go now. So I'm happy now that's screwed on properly. We've screwed it on, it's in place. It's absolutely going nowhere. It's actually in that groove, it can't come out. So the final thing to fix is to put the rose on and we're away. Okay. So door number 3 from the passageway into, looks like the master bedroom here. The complaint from the builder was that the doorknob was very stiff. Now bearing in mind that these doorknobs are unsprung, but we do use these heavy duty double spring tubular latches and they are heavy. If you put a mortise bar inside, you can't actually turn it by hand. So yeah, we turn it in, it's staying in. That's not a great solution. Got my suspicions, but we'll go through it one at a time and see if we can find out what the issue is. The first thing we're going to look at on here is, are the doorknobs perfectly aligned either side? That's often where the problem lies. Yeah, are they both rose plates? Yeah, are they one above the other? Are they going to be sort of left and right, angled? So we'll start doing a bit of analytics now, shall we? So, using the edge of the door here, we're going to measure from the centre of the edge of the door to the centre of the closest point on the rose here. So on this side here, we're going in, and we've got a measurement of 53.94, and this side here we've got with 54. Basically we've got ourselves basically 1.5 mil out. So in effect this one's going that way, that one's going that way. That's not going to help. It puts pressure on the tubular latch. Okay, we've got the rose removed and we've got the cover removed, door knobs taken out from one side only, and we've now exposed the plate. You can't see from there with the camera, but this is about 1 millimetre outer square. So we've got the outer square there, we've got the rose plate being wrong way in and too far and all the rest of it. So it's all causing pressures, but shouldn't really be a problem. It's all within the realms of acceptability. Anyway, so what I've done now with our catches, there's a little springy bit at the top there which can sometimes catch the timber. It's a bit of a weird cam, you've got to be quite aware of. So anyway, I've pulled this thing out to have a look, and I think I found what the problem is. These are Zoo hardware catches, they're not ours. Our catches come with a super heavy duty spring inside them. These are sort of what I'd probably call medium strength ones. They're sort of heavy, but they're probably about half the spring on our ones. So that's a problem. With normal lever handles, you'll have a spring on left handle, spring on right handle, you have a light spring in a tubular latch. All three together gives you a positive move. With unsprung doorknobs, all the spring can only come from the tubular latch. These are good latches. I know the firm which makes them is a firm called Garg Locks over in Noida in India. They make my catches as well, but these ones here are like a medium strength latch, and for this kind of application, with the compound effect of things being slightly out of line, are just simply not going to work. Okay, I've put the latch, I've cleaned the latch out. I've had lots of bits of chippings inside there from the assembly. I've blown it out, a little bit of WD-40 to get it smooth again. I've also got a hoovered all the gubbins inside here. There is a little bit of play, so I'm quite hopeful if I can reassemble this, I can probably get this thing operating nicely. But ideally what it wants is a nice heavy duty latch. I think in due course it might cause more problems, but here we go. So where we are now, we've got the doorknob passed through, we've got the end play how we like it, nice and tight. I've actually secured it on this sort of 3 o'clock position, and without screwing the rose plate on, it's working nicely. What we can do now, we can now turn this around so that the hole's at the bottom. Yep. And what we can do now is we can put the screws back in there. My feeling is, because it's slightly misaligned, once the screws go in, it'll probably kick out slightly. But what I should do, I should give the screws probably a quarter turn slightly back, give them a little bit more play, and then we can, then hopefully that might actually work. So wish me luck. So in summary now, this door with the stiff handles, we've pulled it apart, we've reset the bar properly, we've taken the latch out, we've cleaned it out, we've got hoovered inside there. I've managed to go inside and actually give it a slight tweak. When you're on the screws, you get a tiny bit of play left and right. You can just pull them back slightly. It would definitely benefit from having a much stronger latch, but it's all in place now and it's working like an absolute dream. There's virtually no end play on there at all. That is an absolutely quality product. Right, move on to the next one, shall we? So back in the door number 1 now on the slave side, just purely for aesthetics. I'm going to undo this rose plate, turn it around, and then refix it, make it look nice. With the French doors and slave door here, just purely for the nuclear option, you can always use a bit of this Loctite, which just in effect glue the thread on there. So all we're going to do is simply put a few drops, literally on that last 10mm, nothing more than that. We'll pass it through, and we'll give it a fix up. So in conclusion to this particular job here, the issue with this one here was that the access hole was inside, which you shouldn't really have. This kind of doorknob here, the problem is it hasn't got a tubular latch, there's no way of really aligning it, so what we do is we simply fix the doorknob on one side. On the other side, simply use some Loctite. You've got some fairly sort of medium strength thread lock on here, put it on there, wind it down tight, bring the rose plate round so the access hole's at the bottom, fix the screws on there, give that half an hour, and that is rock solid for life. Okay, bathroom door here, same problem again. It's turning out. We know we can fix that quite easily. We'll disassemble it and do the usual stuff. Other points to note here, we actually do a bathroom turn release which actually matches this particular knob here. Be sort of nice to get these things in line, so you can shift the whole thing up and actually have one above the other. Because I just think it's a point of interest here that you don't really want to have that inset from that one there, and also it's not even a matching colour. But that's not my problem, it's not my design choice. I'm going to get into here now and give it a fix, and we'll come back and that'll be a beauty. Okay, one of the final door here. This is the door I think is one of the sort of home offices. Problem here, I've actually quickly analysed it before we got on camera here. The little access way on this side is facing the wrong direction, facing towards me. You can feel that it's been fixed onto one of the corners, there's a lot of play there. There's quite a lot of stiffness in the joint, which would be a misalignment problem. So what I'm going to do now is going to quickly disassemble it all, give it a clean up, pull up the ends, and then put it back together again, and it'll be absolutely fine. So I'll see in a minute, that should be springing back beautifully instead of holding back like that. Just coming to the final assembly of this particular doorknob, the very last doorknob of the house, and I just got something I'd like to point out to you that the actual sweet spot where the tension was just perfect happened to be when that hole was at the very top. Now if we committed and turned the rose plates like in this house we have done, so they're all facing the bottom to start with, you'd have to either have it really savagely over tightened or really sloppy. So this way here, this proves that by here we're going to come in here, we found a sweet spot, we're going to tighten it there, turn the rose round, and it's going to be perfect. Okay, this doorknob's been completed now. So to start with, it was very stiff indeed. If you wound it back, it would stay back in again, and likewise you had to actually physically bring it forward. It was coming away from its original fixing onto the faces. We've now taken the rose plate off. We've got it to exactly the right tension with regards to end play. We've got it nicely secure into all the flats. I've given it a good clean up, realigned it one screw slightly, and now it works perfectly, and that will not go wrong for years. Perfect. Hi, we're back from the job now, and really I'm going to try to put together a fairly short overview of what issues I saw down there and what I'm really a way forward from this. My gut feeling is there's no gain in me slagging off builders. There's just no gain. The carpentry work is incredibly complex. The guys are involved from pouring fittings to building a ridge beam, and you can never expect a carpenter to know every last nuance of every last product out there. These particular doorknobs have certain nuances which need to be understood prior to the installation side. I was really hoping for arriving on site, finding one single problem, going there, fixing it, everyone's happy, but the issue was there were numerous problems. This particular kind of knob, everything needs to be aligned beautifully. So with the rose plates, they have to be absolutely aligned together, perfectly parallel, perfectly together. If they're slightly up and down, in, out, angled, problem. The tubular latch we had there were not our ones, they were soft tubular latches which had been purchased from a different company. That's not going to help for the fact they're an unsprung knob. Other issues we found out there were things like the tubular latch we put in at a very slight angle, not being put in exactly square. Again, that mortise bar is then running at an angle that way. The fundamental problem with all of them was the fact that what I could see was that both rows had been screwed on first, and then the carpenter then tried to get the mortise bar fixed. And the issue is it can be either too tight, too loose, or you can be hitting onto a corner. So I will cover this later in a different video, but essentially you have one rose plate fixed, you pass it all through. other rest of it goes on loose. You then turn it till you get to the exactly right sweet spot. You fix on the grub screw and you then turn it back round and do your final fix. But I will cover this in another video. My feeling is if I was to go here and start disrespecting the carpenters, yes, that's not going to help anybody at all. If I was to tell a carpenter, watch a video on how to fix a doorknob, they'll very quickly tell me to do one. So I'm going to produce a video later on which will cover it, all the tools necessary and a step-by-step guide to fixing these doorknobs properly, which I absolutely guarantee will work beautifully for years and years and years. So thank you for watching.